サタンしろ
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 233 of the Saturn Studs podcast. I'm Kurt, joined this week by my co-hosts, who are very deep in thought, Peter and Jake.
Yeah, we are. It's the vodka-induced amnesia edition of the cast today. The last 12 hours have been really good to me. Yeah.
So are you saying that you do not remember the movie we watched this week?
No, I do remember, because I watched it this morning while nursing, still being drunk from drinking a handle of whipped cream vodka.
Jesus Christ, what did you do?
Why whipped cream?
All of it. I did everything.
Hey, I won't judge on that front.
I'll
Whipped cream
judge.
vodka is amazing.
I'll judge super hard.
Hey,
I
you
mean,
mix that
what
stuff
better
with some
occasion to
orange.
celebrate than a random Friday in October?
I love it. I like celebrating on random days. I like drinking alone.
I know. I know I'm the last person to chastise anyone for drinking copious amounts of alcohol, with or without company. But I will criticize you, Peter.
Oh, I wasn't alone. There were people there.
That's good.
There was a mustachioed man, and they fixed my neighbor's shower curtain. Not his shower curtains, but his curtains on his windows. That was a principal activity of last night, was them on a fucking halfway up on a 12-foot high ladder fixing curtain rods while we were pounding whipped cream vodka and cranberry juice. And me hiding
And
the
of
other
course,
bottle of gin
you gave the
in the
people-
couch from the mustachioed man.
I hope you offered some to the people on ladders. You know, they could have used something to ease the nerves of being up there.
Oh, he
I'm
did.
hoping they were following.
No,
all
I need
OSHA
to
guidelines.
I need to bitch about this guy for a second.
Okay.
Please.
Kenny, when you make a martini, you don't pour a full cup of my gin into the glass and then wave a vermouth bottle around it. All right? I bought that. That's mine. You can't just drink half of that.
It's like a reverse sparkling water, flavored sparkling water, where just a touch of flavor. It was next to a strawberry, so we could legally call it a strawberry.
This is how they flavor White Claw. They take a Jolly Rancher and they go.
Yeah,
That's it.
It's enough.
That's all you get.
This Jolly Rancher has to last us for a month.
We gotta get through. We got a whole assembly line today, and we only bought one bag of Jolly Ranchers, so we gotta make that shit last.
Get the Dunkin'.
Oh, is it you ever seen when you have really sleazy whiskey companies? Maybe not sleazy, but some whiskey companies who are we're barrel aged, which means that they hook a barrel up to the fucking spout so it flies through a barrel. It was in the barrel for an amount of time.
We had a barrel. The barrel was next to the bottles.
See,
the bottles were shipped in a barrel.
In
and then we
Ireland,
bottled them.
in Ireland, there are actually laws governing what you can and can't sell as whiskey, and part of it is that it has to sit in whatever cask for a certain number of years before it can be legally distributed.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Except in America, we're just like, hey, if you're smart enough to.
And this is
figure
why
out
I
the
drink Irish
loopholes-
whiskey.
Jake, are we in a barrel this week? Are we coming
Dude,
at you
I don't
live
even
from a
know
barrel?
where we are, man. We might be in a building that's crumbling or folding on top of each other or in a mirror because we're in a dream, guys. We're coming at you live from inside Kurt's dream, inside Pete's dream that may or may not be his subconscious dreaming.
Oh no, did I black out?
Or are we
in my
inside
vodka
your dream, Jake?
Oh, that's a big twist at the end. You can't give it away.
You know what? I hadn't seen this movie, which is Inception, in case you you couldn't figure that one out.
Inception, The Dream Warriors.
I hadn't seen this movie in a number of years, and I remember being, like a lot of people, perplexed by it the first few times I watched it. But I watched it this time, it made perfect sense to me.
Yeah,
Right.
everybody was saying like, oh, it was such a mind fuck. It was such a mind fuck. I followed it pretty thoroughly, and I just wanted to make sure that they were following their own rules, right? That's what I was looking out for the most, because they set in place multiple rules, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty hard to like. It's pretty easy to break those rules, like all the kicks.
Yeah,
I'm like, that would have woken you up.
yeah. There
I know
are.
the sedative.
I was watching for two things. I was watching how closely they kept to their own rules, and whether or not the wedding ring theory holds up. The answer to both is yes. But I also, when researching the movie after I finished watching it, found a definitive answer to whether or not the ending of the movie was real or dream, and it comes courtesy of one Michael Caine, which I will reveal at the end of the movie. Yeah, as I was watching this movie, I'm like, this is just Christopher Nolan's stable of actors. He's like, all right, guys, come on, we got one for you. There's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, there's Michael Caine, there's Tom Hardy.
Michael Caine.
They're all in
My
there.
name is Michael Caine.
So we originally were going to watch Tenet, but circumstances made that difficult, and the quality of options we had to watch Tenet were poor.
Yeah, I never checked out. I probably was gonna go onto like Pirate Bay and like try to torrent it, but I don't even know if those torrents are good. Those are so iffy.
It's the Chinese. Most of them are the Chinatown bootlegs that you buy on the streets in New York City, where they go in with their fucking Sony HD Handycam.
See somebody get up in the middle to go get popcorn.
Yeah. Usually
Like,
they go
why
on
is
the. So I think they're like industrialized now, where all the theaters in Chinatown will like only let in the people making bootlegs, so you don't have that issue.
Well, they advertise, hey, Thursday's bootleg night, guys. Come on in.
It's the bootleg rating board.
Do you guys need a tripod for your camera?
See,
no?
now-
Okay.
Yeah, they don't sell popcorn or candy. They just sell like tripods and fucking handy cams, gimbals.
No outside food. No, you buy our food here. You buy our Skittles, our $10 Skittles here.
Now we're thinking of bootlegs, and now I have to imagine, what does the Tenet porn parody look like? Is it like dicked, but it's mirrored halfway through? And they're doing it, and then he finishes, and the cum goes back in. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Sure. Yeah, I totally have given this matter a ton of thought.
Look, I'll get
I
with my
spent a
people,
whole 30
I'll let you
seconds
know.
thinking of that, which is longer than how much thought people have put into some of the trailers this week on Trey Watch.
Oh my
The
God,
segment
we've got
where we watch trailers.
a weekly trailer roundup and review segment. We've got a smorgasbord here today. Let's start off with a favorite that we don't talk a lot about TV show trailers here, but this is an exception. We have a trailer that dropped on the 12th for season 5 of the Eric Andre Show. He's coming back. He's gone to great lengths to keep the show doable. I was reading an interview. He fucking gained 20 pounds and bicked his head, no hair, in order to be unrecognizable from the public, and he says it worked. He described himself as looking like a guy who runs a bodega.
He looks like I don't know, 2 degrees of separation from like Vincent D'Onofrio. He looks like if Eric Andre did a Kingpin cosplay.
He did a lot of fake tanning too, was the other thing he said in his Rolling Stone interview.
Yeah, he looks very tan.
He's inspired by the leader of the free world.
That's fantastic. You
Yeah,
know what? I don't watch a show as much as I feel like I should, because every single clip I see from that is just hilarious.
Yeah, the whole
And
show. Is great.
I've watched his stand up before, and it's so good.
The whole show is great. I love it to death.
He's he's a little free with his nudity, which I will respect. I don't think I would want to go to one of his shows and have a dick shoved in my face.
No, I would never volunteer to be a guest on the Eric Andre show, ever. But it's given us some classics like the treadmill rap battle between Action Bronson and Killer Mike, and the they did like a Ninja Warrior obstacle course with the rappers who were freestyling too while they were blindfolded, and they had like some American Gladiators motherfucker knocking them off the balance beam onto mouse traps.
Yup.
Jesus.
Oh, they got pissed.
Oh yeah, I don't blame them. Like, goddamn, Adult Swim must have some amazing lawyers, because there's no way that show doesn't get sued on the regular.
Yeah, right. I mean, a lot of stuff that they do. Like I was thinking about this the other day because this reminds me a little bit, not to the extent, but the Sacha Baron Cohen's show.
His stuff.
What is it? What is America?
Who is America?
Or Who is America? Yeah, Who is America? And it's just like, dude, how the fuck are you not just swimming in lawsuits? Because he just gets like Republican like congressmen, senators to just openly admit to giving like second graders in Pakistan like loaded handguns.
Just makes them just confess like the worst shit.
I'm just like, he sat down with Dick Cheney and made Dick Cheney openly admit of doing war crimes.
Oh, I mean, Dick Cheney probably will do that to anyone because he's untouchable. His buddies at Halliburton will get him out of any jam he finds himself in.
Jesus. He made him sign his waterboarding kit. Which consisted of a rag and a gallon jug. An empty gallon jug. So bad.
Next up, we have another entry in the AI-generated horror movie franchise with The Empty Man after the
Gotcha.
the lesser
Bye-bye
success
Man.
of the Bye Bye Man. We have The Empty Man.
I don't get these movies because I think there's some other movies where it's just like the blank man,
I'll tell you.
the invisible man.
I'll tell you how these movies get made. We remark all the time that the only movies that make any money are superhero movies or other high budget action movies from a big studio and horror movies made on a shoestring budget. So some accountant in Hollywood was pushing his pencils around and counting his beans and was like, wait a minute. And he learned some Python, he made a script, and it just shits out horror movie scripts. and WriterBot 5000 has just made its newest masterpiece, The Empty Man.
It's like the Pizza-O-Matic where you feed in Ask Reddit threads of what's the creepiest thing that you've ever seen on the job, at home, in your car, with your girlfriend, every fucking day. There's too many of those threads on the site. You feed them into in the conveyor belt, and out comes, generic script number 58.
Yeah, like I'm waiting for just like them to resort to taking those creepypastas off of Reddit and just being like, "That."
I mean,
There
that's
it is.
basically what the Slender Man is.
Yeah, and what is the foghorn siren?
Oh, yeah, Siren Head.
Boy, Siren Head. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I guarantee that's gonna be a movie in like 5 years.
I guess. I don't think it has the grab. It was like
I don't know.
It was like a 2-week meme,
Yeah, he was a siren.
Can we make... So after we go through the creepypastas, can we start making movies about the copy pastas? Like, I want to see the one with the celebrity at the supermarket, the hand in the face, and making the cashier scan each individual Snickers bar.
Truly terrifying.
But we're gonna have to
Truly
get What the fuck did you say to me? The movie. otherwise known as Guerrilla Warfare, the movie.
04021 has a comment on the Empty Man trailer, movie clips trailers that I want to share. This looks stupid, like the Bye Bye Man or Slender Man movie. Chris Hollywood is creatively bankrupt. I don't know who Chris Hollywood is, but he's creatively bankrupt.
Chris Hollywood. Dude, fuck that guy.
It's just
Like it's the friend of Joe Football. Or Joe College. You got Joe College and Chris Hollywood.
Chris Hollywood.
Props to Shaolin Marauder for saying the sequel, The Full Man.
I have a question. Do we think that Chris Hollywood is in any way related to Chris R from The Room?
I'm gonna say yes.
Because they have the same first name, right? They got to be related.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Just so we're on the same page.
It's like Kevin Bacon and actual bacon.
It's the same thing.
They are.
There's no difference between the two.
They are one branch away. It just that is evidence of evolution. I don't know what
Yeah, checkmate.
what
Science
Christians
deniers.
want.
What more could you
can-
ask for? You have bacon, a thing, and then you have Kevin Bacon, another more advanced thing, totally originating from the other thing.
I like to imagine Kevin
ancestors.
Bacon evolves from bacon like Pokemon.
Yes, it's exactly like once he reaches level 16, he evolves into Kevin Bacon.
Bacon.
First it was ham.
How do you level up bacon though?
It's very difficult.
You're eating your BLT
It's like-
and it starts glowing. What's this?
Well, you just swap them out. It's like a metapod.
Oh yeah.
Bacon is just the chrysalis form of Kevin
you
Bacon.
take bacon to a cockfight and you dangle in front of the chicken and then you swap it out for your other chicken.
And it gains some experience.
Yeah.
And then slowly until level 10, he sprouts his wings and becomes Kevin Bacon.
Eventually, scientists are working on an experience share, which will streamline the process quite a bit.
I just think that's Neuralink. That's Elon Musk's Neuralink. He's setting up. Maybe it's Google Fiber. Oh, and maybe it's Monster
Bacon.
Hunter.
Maybe it's Monster.
Oh, jeez.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Brought to you by Maybelline. Maybe it's Monster Hunter. Maybe it's a random movie that they somehow got the the directors of the game to be like, yeah, we like it.
Well, Paul W.S. Anderson is well known for his terrible video game movies, like the Resident Evil and Underworld series. He makes movies solely so that his wife can star in movies. And she's back again. It's Mila Djokovic, fresh off of her just terrible performance in the 2019 Hellboy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, how are they going to fuck up Monster Hunter this time? Like, is it just going to be just bad acting? Is it going to be like really bad effects? And it is all of those things, but he likes to bring in the variety, and he hits you right away with the hook, which is when you look at the trailer for Monster Hunter, and it's 3 jarheads in like a desert war gear in like Afghanistan or whatever, and then I scroll down and the title still says Monster Hunter. I have an out of body experience.
So
I lose consciousness for a good second.
So this is what I'm excited to talk about because I've talked to Dave at length about this, and Dave loves Monster Hunter. Like, Monster Hunter World is his shit. It's really big in Japan.
It's basically
Yeah.
the
Well,
reason Capcom still exists as a company.
Yeah. Like it's like as big as Pokemon over there. And I think Monster Hunter World kind of brought it over here a little bit more and made it a little bit more popular. I think Monster Hunter World was pretty popular over here.
Yeah, Monster Hunter 3 on the 3DS was also pretty popular. I remember that being big.
So I have a few thoughts about this. One, the military people that get like teleported into the Monster Hunter world, plausible.
How
that abides by the laws of Monster Hunter.
But how do they get teleported, Jake? Why don't you inform the audience what?
A big storm comes over and electrocutes rocks. How else do you create a portal?
When a meteor comes down and you go through the meteor in New York City, and then you end up in the Mushroom Kingdom. Super Mario Bros. Was a historical documentary. Paved the way so we can make films like this.
Paved the way for Bob Hoskins' fucking
Wait, so that actually
alcoholism.
the Mario Bros. Movie actually happened in real life?
Yes.
Does that explain all the bodega cats?
Have you ever seen Bob Hoskins? The answer is no, because he died of alcoholism because of his traumatic experience in the Mushroom
I've seen
Kingdom.
it in the movies.
Peter's uncle Bob.
Wait, didn't he pick up that Humvee with his leathery wings and fly into the air that wasn't Bob?
No, unfortunately.
Oh, I thought that was his best character actor moment ever, where he gets to play the dragon.
His leathery wings.
So there are portals in Monster Hunter World. They've had Resident Evil crossovers, and they've had The Witcher crossovers into Monster Hunter.
Yeah, that's
And the way
an
that they
easy.
do
That's a pretty natural crossover there.
Is just portal. Portal from this world into this world.
Oh yeah,
that's
Capcom's
how they
no
get, like,
stranger
drawn.
to crossovers. We've had many characters from other games and franchises make their way into Street Fighter.
I think it's a little crazy to think that they're just like skipping all the main source material and just going right to DLC level of stuff.
Is it crazy though? Like,
well, it runs the track record. It follows the track record of the director, I guess, but it's just like you had so much cool stuff. So I think this might work. And it might work because Monster Hunter doesn't really have a huge like overarching plot or like storyline behind it. They just have like monsters, and then your character
you
that
hunt them?
fights the monsters that you hunt. Yeah,
um,
they just have like all the different like the names of the different monsters. So like as long as they keep those like designs and names like concurrent, and then maybe like some swords, they're gonna be. I think fans are gonna be pleased, I guess, because there's no like, oh, this guy better be in it doing this thing. All they're asking for is the cats.
I feel like the world is very important, and Monster Hunter has a very lush, lively world that it's set in. And this is a desert.
Well, no, there's also the jungle. I mean, which trailer did you see? Did you see the?
Yeah, I saw the one on movie clips. I mean, it's large. There is a jungle, yes, but it's largely desert. You only see the people in the desert.
Yeah, which I don't know the story. So I think what's gonna happen is like, I think Mila Djokovic and her like team are gonna get like mostly wiped out by Diablos, which is the name of that first guy with the horns in the desert. And then this hunter's gonna come over, save him, bring him back to his like little jungle or whatever, and then we're gonna see some more area. But we do see some of the other spots in the trailer. I would be disappointed if like the desert was like the majority of the movie, but
I have a sinking suspicion that it will be.
Could be.
He does love his desert locales.
Yes, in fact, he put a Resident Evil movie in the desert. For reasons. I mean, I guess Resident Evil 5 exists, but still, even then, they were favelas.
Yeah, I guess if there's anything I would want out of this, it would be an extended monster hunting scene. Because that's the impression that I get from these games, is that like the draw is here's a 2-hour monster fight that you're just in, and you just fight for like a fucking raid boss.
It's a
forever.
lot. It's a lot like Shadow of the Colossus. If that game had like a leveling system that encouraged grinding, so it's just big epic boss fights with other players in Monster Hunter World, and you go nuts on it. And it takes a long time because they have like 1 million fucking HP and everyone's just hacking away.
Doing
there was one
50
thing that
damage at a time.
There was one thing that I saw that might be cool if they do it. So, like, a big part of Monster Hunter is also like breaking of the monsters, like the breaking off a horn or something like that.
Yeah, your trophy.
And that like that signifies like maybe the next part of the battle. And I saw at one point Diablos doesn't have part of his horn. So if they could implement that into this, where they like break parts of the monster off, and then they can maybe collect it, or that just like is to the next level of fighting. I think that'd be kind of neat.
I can guarantee you one thing: this movie will not be good.
I don't think so. I think it might just be like some action monster porn.
If you're looking for a Sonic the Hedgehog quality video game movie, look elsewhere.
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna be up there.
But
I mean, it follows the track record of the guy. He doesn't go too much by source material.
no, because
He's butchered Resident Evil.
Watching a Resident Evil movie, there's a rather robust story there, but his connection to Resident Evil is just I will mention the T-Virus and the Umbrella Corporation, and that's it.
Yeah.
I want to see Mila Jovovich spin kick a dragon.
I would like to see
That's not in
Mila
that movie.
Djokovic
I'll scream.
retire and not be in movies anymore.
You know who we don't want to retire? Nick Cage.
Bob Hoskins.
Nick Cage. Well, I like to think Bob Hoskins is still active in the afterlife.
He is. He definitely is.
Yeah, Nick
Thumbs
Cage. Never stop picking any movie that they send you. So
First one that comes across the desk.
we have a movie coming out. It's called Jiu-Jitsu. And
Now, Nick Cage thought this was like a religious movie, like a religious like fighting movie, like about the Jewish culture. But when he got to set wearing a Star of David and a yarmulke, he was sadly mistaken.
yeah, it's a movie like I'm trying to explain because I actually think this movie looks like it could be a lot of fun and not necessarily a bad movie. So this is directed by the same guy who did Kickboxer Retaliation, which if you've never seen Kickboxer Retaliation, it's actually a pretty good movie. It's a remake of Kickboxer starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme's in this movie. He trains the next kickboxer who's trying to take revenge on Tong Po for killing his brother in a kickboxing match. And it's not like super deep or anything, but for what the movie is, it's actually pretty good. And this movie, for what, like the remove the title from it. I think the title is what has people hung up a lot because who names the movie Jiu-Jitsu? It's a fair criticism to have. Like, why would you ever do this? But the actual movie itself is a lot of what looked to be really well choreographed fight scenes, where Nick Cage's team is defending Earth from a martial artist predator monster.
Power Ranger?
Yeah.
One Power Ranger?
Villamax has come down from the sky to take over Earth, and Nick Cage and his merry gang of martial artists are there to stop him. And if it were called something else, like, Earth Defense Force or something, I don't think people would be as like, haha, look at this movie and laugh, because I think they see the title and then someone wrote a review of how it's just, a bunch of jiu-jitsu people defending Earth from aliens, and we're like, ha ha ha, what a hilarious concept that is.
Funny story, Nick.
Yeah. Without actually watching the trailer and ran with it, you would see that it's like sort of yes, but it's just like these people are charged with protecting Earth from Villamax, and they're gonna do it.
I think it's going to be wild fun. Like, just not a care in the world, just go for it.
Yeah, I think it's
Kind
gonna
of a
be
movie.
a fun movie. One of those movies, like a Get Duked, where yes, it's not going to win any awards, and it's not going to change your perspective on life or filmmaking, but you will sit down, you will watch it, and you will be entertained for its runtime. And not in the same way that you're entertained by like a Neil Breen movie.
Yeah, and I think Nick Cage is going to be. I think it's going to be Nick Cage, and I think that's okay because he's a goofy kind of zany guy. But I think if they choreograph him the right way and give him the right lines, I think he'll come off as pretty appealing.
He's been in some stuff.
Yep. And with this, hopefully he'll get enough money to make the last payment on his throne made out of turtle shells or whatever the fuck he bought this time.
Well, I just hope they don't catch him for stealing the Declaration of Independence. I mean, he is really on the lam.
That is bold of him to be so public after a crime like that.
Yeah, that was a documentary, not a.
Here you go.
That was a how-to video of him.
I'll just
steal the documentary.
I'll read the headline just so you know where I'm coming from on this in terms of the money. Nicolas Cage. So this was I guess last summer. Headline from CNBC. Nicolas Cage blew $150 million on a dinosaur skull, pygmy heads, and 2 European castles. He'll just buy whatever.
I mean, he's made a ton of money. He's been in a lot of movies that have made a lot of money, and a lot of movies that haven't made as much money, but he got paid handsomely to be in.
Yep. Oh my god, this fucking paragraph. Oh,
go on his IMDb. It's like 80,000 pages.
He just can't stop.
He's Nick Cage, the ceaseless actor.
It's true.
He escaped from the blind eternities, and he's come to wreck our cinema.
His latest film that he's working on right now, even though Jiu-Jitsu is not out yet, he's already started work on another film. It's called The Unbearable Weight of Incredible Talent. And Nick Cage plays Nick Cage, forced to attend a birthday party of someone he owes money to. That's the premise. And also probably what's going on.
That sounds a lot like Uncut Gems. But yeah, I have no doubts that Nick Cage films 8 movies at a time.
Yeah.
What are the first ones that come up on him?
Probably National Treasure, The Rock, and
actor Face Off, 1997.
Face Off.
Is that his most like popular one?
I mean, that's the one that you and I bonded over, so it must be.
Mm-hmm. It has to be.
I would assume it's that, National Treasure 2, and The Rock.
No way. So it has on his IMDb page, Untitled Joe Exotic Project.
I did
TV
hear about
miniseries.
that. I did hear he was going to play Joe Exotic in a movie.
It's in pre-production, and he is listed as Joe Exotic. That's fucking phenomenal. Listed for 8 episodes.
He's like, I feel like his one condition for signing, he's like, I don't have a lot of standards here. I'll just do it. But I have to ask, can I keep the tiger?
I gotta ask, can I keep the tiger?
How funny would they be? How funny would it be if they not funny, I guess, because the tigers would be in danger, but if they got charged for animal cruelty for filming that,
if it goes too method.
If it goes too method and they actually harm tigers in the making of this.
He gets a prison sentence
no.
and he winds up actual cellmates with the real Joe Exotic.
They work with Carol Baskins, have her, who, by the way, cannot dance for shit. Fuck Carol Baskins. She killed her husband. She can't dance. She was on Dancing with the Stars.
Well, don't you know, Jake? Cats can't dance. They made a movie about it.
It's part of the cat.
Well, she wishes she was.
She's dressed up like a cat every single time. I'll tell you that.
No
Really?
shit. We saw in Tiger King. That's all her wardrobe is cat prints.
It's true.
I didn't know they made so
dance-
many cat print garments.
I want to find some of the stills from that, because she had her. I don't know if it was his idea or if it was her idea, but her partner, who's a professional dancer in Dancing with the Stars, dressed up like a lion for when they danced The Lion King. And he had prosthetic, like, lion makeup on it that made him look horrifying.
Yeah, cats in real life. Which is how it started, actually, because it was a Broadway musical. We got a second trailer for Soul. It's been pulled from theaters, and comments are turned off for some reason on this trailer.
Wow.
Oh,
People are pissed about it.
Why?
People, no, I'm sorry, not people. Movie theaters.
Oh, right.
They're not people. They're really pissed about it because they're like, the fuck, like, this is killing us.
Well, a lot of states are going to be locking back down soon. Like, there's, oh Jesus, why would you share this with me, Jake? Oh God, no, why?
That's nightmares.
I should set up a second scene so, like, on the video podcast, I can show some of these fucking images. But that's too much work to do at this point in time.
I can't be held responsible.
Jeez,
for
the
what I may or
dude
may not
fucking
post.
looks like. Did they just, like, go to the makeup department from The Wizard of Oz?
Yes, he does look like the lion from Wizard of Oz. Oh my god, it's so horrifying.
So anyway, Soul
Where
is
was it?
coming to Disney Plus. It will start streaming on Christmas. So Disney waging war on Jewish Christmas, attacking half the institutions of that tradition. Next up, Disney's going to make a play, but we thought Amazon was behind it, but no, it turns out Disney is going to make a play, and they're going to buy up all the Chinese food restaurants in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I wonder why the comments are turned off.
Yeah, I don't get that one.
All the
Is there a lot
they're
of
afraid of all the
hate and
movie
vitriol
theaters.
for Soul? Usually,
I didn't think so.
I don't know. I know people were. I was a little grumpy when that first trailer came out. Where I was like, "Oh, cool! It's about like a music teacher in the city, and he's like following his dreams, and it's like cool music and beautiful cityscapes, and oh, he's a blue marshmallow now."
it looks like they
Oh,
do
okay. It
does
come back
seem-
to the city. Like, this trailer showed quite a bit more of what kind of happens in the movie, and they do show a lot more of like stuff in the city. So it seems as though there's going to be more of the cityscape than we first imagined.
Well, do you remember the first trailer they released of this? It like got a lot of pushback because they showed like the actor as a black animated character for like a very small portion of the trailer, and the rest of it was like him being, I don't know, whitewashed for lack of a better word, as like this soul character.
Now that you say it, I do kind of remember that. I remember.
And then they released another trailer where the majority of it was his black character animated. And they're like, no, he's black.
God, I hate people
we have people of
so
color.
much. Like, they get mad about the dumbest fucking shit. Because they got tunnel vision. They can't, like, accept a complex idea. It's just gotta be, like, and it's simple as
So
Yeah.
what you're saying is that they're judging this movie on the color of his skin and not on the literal content of his character,
Yes.
That's
which he is for most of this movie.
we've gone back in time on civil rights.
We've become so woke that we're regressing.
Weirdly, I think that's true in a lot of ways.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it all comes from a place of good intentions, but as the old saying goes, the path to hell is paved with good intentions.
Wasn't there something with like Harvard or Yale with like bringing in too many Asian students and then like affirmative action?
No, they
like, backfired?
discriminated against Asian students because
They were Asian?
because there were two. Because like if you accepted them based on merit, like the student body would be like 90% Asian.
Yeah.
But because they have their quotas they got to fill, they would reject more qualified Asian applicants to accept minority applicants with lesser qualifications.
Rejecting a minority just to get other minorities.
Well, don't you know Asian people are
it's
white
a whole
now?
thing. I will say that.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much into it because that's certainly
No, this is our strong
a
suit.
controversial issue.
This is our strong suit. Let's talk more about race.
I have I'm sure we all have a lot of complex opinions on,
Three white boys talking about race.
but yeah, we're not allowed to have opinions on that because of the color of our skin.
And the fact that we're all white cisgender. Not curious at all.
Lastly, we have Jungle Land. It's a movie about underground fighting. Because apparently that's the trend for the latter half of 2020 here.
Yeah, sure.
All ripoffs of Fight Club.
This looks more like a Cinderella Man sort of deal than a Fight Club sort of
it's
deal.
like it's a gritty, sort of like, down on their luck sort of working class guy does the bum fights for money.
Like Rocky.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at one point I think he gets indebted into some of the Fight Club maybe owners or something like that.
Yeah, he owes money to some dude, that's for sure.
They owe some money. I think what happens is maybe his brother is fighting at first. It seems like his brother is fighting at first, and then he like owes the guy a bunch of money, and then forces him to fight in his place in order to pay off the debts. Maybe so.
In two phrases, I can describe the sensibility and aesthetic of this movie. So I want you to close your eyes, and the two scenes that I will give you will tell you what movie this is. Faded beige walls, neon lights reflecting in a puddle. There it is. Right? That's what the kind of movie this is.
Yeah.
I like it. Like a stale chocolate chip cookie that's been left out a little too long.
Dusty boxing gymnasium.
And musk. It's a lot of sweat. They don't wash the towels a
That
lot.
healthy musk. All right. Well, that leads us nicely into the follow-up. We have an upset, ladies and gentlemen. Tenet has been dethroned from the number one spot in its 6th week. The War with Grandpa debuting with a solid $3.6 million, good enough to wrestle away the top spot from Tenet to the tune of almost $1.5 million, or more than $1.5 million, more than Tenet.
God damn.
And with success like that, and it's even available on streaming. Wow, so that's actually kind of impressive. Because it split its market.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And even with that, so we have to take a look at this as our spotlight film, obviously, because this is a just surging powerhouse performance for De Niro, fresh off The Irishman. And it's doing okay, not really okay with critics. It's got a 31% on Rotten Tomatoes. 86 audience score though, so that's something. 5.5 out of IMDb, 3 out of 5 on Common Sense Media, and a 34 on Metacritic. But as we've discussed in the past, professional critics, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They sit in their ivory towers. They get free movie tickets. They don't have to worry about things like consumer choice or paying to see the movies, because their newspaper takes care of it all for them. So whatever studio gives them the most smoozing, they can be bought. They're in the pockets of the corporations. But you know who's not in the pocket of the corporations? The people who review movies on IMDb. These are real reviews from real people selling real fake doors.
These are real people with real reviewer traits.
They're clean.
Clean.
We keep these reviewers in tubes and in plastic bags. I think this is our 4th straight week referencing that video.
It's because it's comedy
Keep going.
gold.
I like
It
it.
just keeps going. It's the gift that keeps on giving. All right, so we're gonna hear from some people who thought this movie was fantastic. We're gonna hear from some people that thought this movie was shit, and we're gonna hear from some people who thought this movie was hey, it's hey. All right, first up, I've got a review from Andy Burton, 76592. There are a lot of Andy Burtons on IMDb apparently, and his review is titled "Hilarious Family-Friendly Entertainment," submitted August 30th of 2020, so quite a bit ago, actually. Saw this movie early. This movie was mainly for the kids, but it turned out to be hilarious. The kids loved it, and so did my mom. I really enjoyed it, too. It's a great family movie to bring everyone together and laugh. Fun for all ages and generations. Great cast that did a wonderful job. Don't mind the bad ratings and reviews from Trumpers. They're just salty Robert De Niro used his platform to stand up to Trump and the hate and racism he's spreading that is tearing apart and bringing this once great country to ruin. Do you really want to judge a movie on an actor's politics? Or, for that matter, take reviews on a family movie from people with no morals or values? Watch the movie for yourself. I think you will find it enjoyable. 18 out of 44.
That took a fucking turn.
When I was going through the reviews, I saw it, and I was like, okay, so this is just a regular review. And then I saw the negative reviews from Trumpsters. I'm like, I gotta take this.
Well, that's so funny. I love it when, like, the... Because you do all the 10 out of 10. I do the 1 out of 10. Now, you guys, you're calling out the 1 out of 10s. And I'm like, all right, now where are these negative Trump reviews? And I'm like, what? Where are they?
No, they're never.
This guy was
They're
lying.
never there. Like, none of this shit. Like, the straw men that the high reviewers create are just never grounded in reality. They just can't accept that someone has a different opinion than them.
Maybe one. Maybe they like keyword search Trump or something like that.
I don't even know.
For De Niro. Okay, so shit, where was it? So I think I'm gonna do this one first. So this one's actually somebody who like reviews movies, because they put their Twitter in the end. Should I mention that?
No.
I mean, they put it on the web.
They need to either donate or leave a review on iTunes or Podcast Addict for us to shout them out.
Look, blank reviews. You know who you are. Give us a shout out if you want.
Rate
us
this
to
podcast 5
do-
stars. We'll give you a shout out.
Rate this podcast. Send us an email. We'll shout you out.
We know you like to.
Shout out your
We
Twitter.
know you like to write reviews.
1 out of 10. Almost unwatchable by blank reviews. Ridiculous, cringeworthy, and almost unwatchable. The war with Grandpa makes it hard to believe Robert De Niro would ever take part in a film like this. In this family comedy, upset that he has to share a room he loves with his grandfather, a young boy decides to declare war in an attempt to get it back. If you've ever hated your grandpa as much as this kid in this film, you should get help. You know that with A War with Grandpa was clearly a filler film for both De Niro and co-star Chris Walken. Call by his actual name,
He's
Christopher
Walken.
Walken. How did these leading men ever get persuaded into making this film? Walken was the one actor who had 1 or 2 funny lines, and that's it. A complete waste of talent in a more than basic wannabe family film. Follow at blank blank for more reviews.
At redacted for more reviews.
15 out of 26 found this helpful.
You know, you'll recognize your work. And you know what you have to do. I'll go back. I'll edit this episode. We'll put your name in there. We can come to an accord.
Insert it. Just over my...
Yeah, I won't even get Jake to do his own dubbing. I'll do it for him. I'll do an impression of Jake.
Oh, dub him down. Oh, I got a 4 out of 10 here from Aaron George 13. 4 out of 10. Hollywood just keeps making movies like these every year. And then in brackets, that is a plus 40%, which I assume is the plus 40 elemental modifier for bludgeoning damage after you read this review.
That's a weird bonus. Is it plus the bludgeoning damage, or is it plus the elemental effect chance on bludgeoning
You
damage?
just have to find out.
Mental bludgeoning. So specific.
Oh, God. All right. Yeah, let me throw that up quick for you.
I hate when melee weapons have different damaging types, slashing, bludgeoning. It's like, no, come on.
Not a lot to recommend here. It's your standard, predictable comedy with a dash of feel-good family vibes. A grandfather and his grandson, seen in the poster, indulge in a turf war for the possession of the latter's room in the house. The storyline itself is an excuse for an occasionally funny, mostly drab comedy aimed at family-friendly audiences. A few scenes did crack me up. That dodgeball sequence being one of them. Walken is a wise addition to have in films like these, while Thurman and Wriggle turn out far less amusing than expected. If you've got 90 minutes to kill and you're stuck indoors like me, go for it. 50 out of 74.
Yeah, that was the featured review, as I recall. This is probably the most helpful review I've ever read, like in terms of helpfulness rating, not necessarily the content of the review. But Ann_iced_heart had his heart thawed by this movie. He gave it an 8 out of 10, stating, "My family actually put down their phones for this film, ellipses. Getting my family to agree on something is hard enough. Getting them all to like the same thing hardly never happens." Hardly never happens, so it happens
Then
often.
I have Kraft mac and cheese to bring the family together.
Yeah, that's why I picked this. It sounds like a fucking commercial for like Kraft mac and cheese. I can see how if you don't have kids, maybe you're a young couple, you may not appreciate the humor. I have a family of 4 whose dad actually lives with us, and everyone from my 10-year-old son up to my 80-year-old dad spent the entire time howling with laughter. 2 exclamation points. Yes, there was a moment where my son thought it looked like a fun idea, but he was quickly corrected by his granddad that he took no prisoners, and my son changed his mind. But honestly, De Niro was his usual funny self. I'm not personally a fan of Uma. She was more grown up and relatable in this to me, so if you loved her in some of her older stuff, maybe don't watch this, just to catch up on some Uma time. Slapstick humor, Cheech and Walken were the icing on the cake for us. We will be buying the DVD. Thanks for a successful family film night, for once. 41 out of 62 found that helpful.
Oh my God.
Uma time. I think she walks in every room, says, "It's Uma
We can
time."
only hope.
I feel like that reviews just spawned, like someone opened a cursed like bag of Toll House chocolate chips, and instead of the recipe on the back, it was that review for this movie.
I really connected with this reviewer because I was like, man, I really connect with that, like those family struggles.
I just
Getting
love
everybody
some of
to
the
agree on
asides. It's
something.
like, if you
Like,
don't have
wow.
kids, maybe you're a young couple. Well, what if they're an older couple that just doesn't want kids? Fucking judgmental asshole.
And
Very
what was that thing
assumption-
about like their dad being there?
Yeah, this is weird. So he's like, whose dad actually, maybe you're a young couple. You may not appreciate the humor. I have a family of 4, comma, whose, with no apostrophe, dad actually lives with us. So I guess he's referring to himself in that tense.
So his
No, I think it's like a woman.
father-in-law lives with them?
Or her dad, whatever.
Oh, like I thought their dad is in her husband. That's what I was thinking. Like,
Maybe.
unlike most families who are split up from divorce rates, their dad actually lives with me.
No, I think they have an old man living
Yeah,
with them.
because it
Yeah, I
says
think that's
everyone
probably what
from,
it
because
is.
the next sentence clarifies everyone from, well, it's actually the same sentence. Everyone from my 10-year-old son up to my 80-year-old dad. So
Okay, yeah.
it's
So
this
they
person's
really
father.
connect. This was literally a movie designed for
Yes,
them.
it is. Their market research
Father
paid off big time. They hit the demographic right square on the head.
Fucking bullseye.
The U.S. swimming with families where it's a mom, dad, couple of kids, grandpa.
Always have
Swimming with them.
I love the part where it's like my son thought it was a good idea, but it was quickly corrected by his grandfather that he took no prisoners.
Grandpa's just like, I was in fucking Vietnam.
I will fucking kill you. I thought
I
Nazis.
lost good friends.
They were in the fucking trees. And he's strangling the kid in the middle of the movie theater.
Straight up taking a knife out.
Oh, Grandpa's having another one of his episodes. I'll take him out to the
I
hall.
have so many guns. Somebody had a different opinion. Cicada. 1 out of 10. Depressing. Honestly, this movie must be a tax write-off for somebody. There is only one person in this piece of crap movie that is funny and entertaining, and that is Cheech Marin. His scenes are few, but his talent still shines. Everything else about this movie is about as stupid and unfunny as stupid and unfunny can be. That sentence is awful.
It's cancer.
You can use this 1 hour and 30 minutes to do something productive, like clean your automobile or sweep the gutters in your neighborhood.
Sweep the gutters in your neighborhood? What?
Much better mentally and emotionally. Ugh.
How do you sweep gutters?
You know, you get up on top of your house with your broom and you go,
And then you clean out your horseless carriage.
yeah. And then you invite the old neighbor boy to go up your chimney and go dust it out.
Have a good. It's always
While
good to
he
have a good
gets
sweep
the
up
black
there.
lung.
All right, and then we'll finish one off here. From Al Shamari Marwa, 6 out of 10. Fun family movie. Upset that he has to share the room he loves with his grandfather, Peter decides to declare war in an attempt to get it back.
Peter, why would you do that?
I don't know. I'll keep reading. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun comedy family movie. Simple story it is meant to be for the family. Don't be too critical. Just sit with the family and enjoy a good movie and have a good laugh. No period.
What if I don't have a family? Like, I feel all these reviews are unfairly targeting people who don't have families.
Yeah.
Gotta get one. Gotta get one fast.
I think we need to stick it to him. We need to watch The War with Grandpa.
That's the word.
You get
Alone
wait
in
till
our
Black Friday,
apartments
families.
with the lights off.
Yeah, just wait till Black Friday. Families go on sale, so you can probably pick one up then, and then watch Bad Grandpa or
Bad
War
Grandpa.
with Grandpa, whatever.
That's
Whatever
a different De
another
Niro movie.
Fun family.
was
Yes, Bad Grandpa actually is another movie starring Robert De Niro. In second place, as discussed, Tenet, $2.1 million. It's made $48 million domestic and $272 million international. That's a good amount of money. Sure, it would have made more if the world were on fire. Hocus Pocus in its 2020 re-release, sitting at $1.16 million. It's made how much money have you made? $3.1 million worldwide on its re-release. The New Mutants falling to fourth, $705,000, down 33.2%. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. 32.3%. Unhinged still in the top 5 somehow. Just 9 weeks in.
Still that? Oh yeah, it is still that fucking driving movie.
Yeah, it's still Fat Russell Crowe, 38 million worldwide. Coco, which according to Box Office Mojo, is in its 151st week.
That's so
So
funny.
apparently it never left theaters from when Peter and I reviewed it many moons ago, and we had to sit through fucking Olaf's Frozen Adventure after I gave up my seat to let a grandkid sit next to their grandparent, and all the grandkid did was bitch the whole fucking time.
Oh. So bad. That's a shame.
Apparently it's still in theaters and brought in $210,000. So
I mean, Las Dias are coming up, so
yeah, but like I guess there's just been a handful of theaters in like highly Hispanic neighborhoods that never took Coco out.
they just kept running it.
Yeah, because it says week 151, And when you click on it, it's all the numbers for its original theatrical run. $209 million domestic, $597 million international. So even in 151 weeks, it couldn't crack $1 billion. Get on your game, Disney.
Wow.
Infidel in 7th, $205. Possessor Uncut in 8th, $150, down 40%. Yikes. Yellow Rose opening in 9th with $150,000. It's a Filipina teen from a small Texas town fights to pursue her dreams as a country music performer while having to decide between staying with her family or leaving the only home she's ever known. $150,000. And rounding out the top 10, Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. $145,000 in its 14th week of 2020 release. Down 56%. Out of half the theaters it was in, 850 dropped it week to week.
Should be out of all of them. Bad movie.
Yep.
That has been out for a while, so
Yeah.
it's cool that these movies are getting like re-releases. And honestly, Hocus Pocus in theaters, come on, fuck yeah, dude.
Hollywood just keeps making these movies plus 40%.
Well, Hocus Pocus is like that was never theatrically released, right?
I don't
Was that a straight to Disney?
know. I gotta imagine they got Bette Midler for that when she was still kind of relevant. I gotta imagine it went in theaters. Let's see. Original
I
release.
always remember it just on TV.
Original release. It made $39 million, all domestic.
Oh,
It had an $8 million opening weekend.
that's fascinating. I always thought that was like a Disney Channel original or
Well,
something like that.
to be fair, it did come out the year before you and I were born.
Yeah, I
So
wasn't even alive.
we wouldn't have had any idea that this existed in theaters. We couldn't even form sentences until 3 years after this movie had concluded its theatrical run.
For our opinion was invalid.
All right, let's go talk some gaming news. Not a lot of gaming news that I was able to suss out here. Most of it, we have some outlets pumping out some information about reviews, in-depth reviews on next-gen consoles. We had some UI reveals. We saw the PS5 UI, the Xbox Series X and Series S UI actually got pushed out to Xbox One. They're going with a unified UI, so I've had some hands-on with that. It's better than it was before, but still not as easy as the PS3's UI, which I think was probably the best in terms of these guys. I've never used a PS4, so maybe that's more of the same. But like, I never liked. They did a few iterations of the Xbox 360 dashboard. Didn't like any of them. It was a weird thing before, and then when Windows 8 came out, they pushed out the live tile thing. They're like, we're going to do that across everything, and everyone's like, I hate this. Make it go away. And then they're like, sorry, we'll do something else. Microsoft Store UI. And everyone's like, no. Microsoft has had a troubled history with this.
Yeah, to say the least.
Let's see here. We have. Sure, I'll accept your goddamn cookies. Bethesda games are looking increasingly unlikely on PS5. We don't have to ship to any other platform, is the quote from Phil Spencer. PushSquare.com has the story. Sammy Barker, the byline. My response to this is no fucking shit. Do you think Microsoft's going to spend $7.5 billion on ZeniMax to just not have it exclusive to their platform to drive hardware sales? Like, who thought? Who thought that would happen?
My only question is, are they going to make Elder Scrolls 6
Eventually.
to sell? Or are they going to just repackage Skyrim as... Because you can't, because that can't be an exclusive.
Well, what they said.
It's already unexclusive.
Well, according to Bethesda at E3 2019, it's coming, Elder Scrolls 6, but after they finish Starfield, they'll start working on that. And Starfield has been in development
Starfield
for,
again?
I think, 3 years now.
Oh god.
Jeez.
I think that's what it's called.
Um,
Starfield Bethesda. Yes. So Starfield is a space RPG. It's Bethesda's first original IP in 25 years. It's set in space, and that's almost everything we know about it
Wow.
as of
Great.
September 22nd of this year.
pre-order it. So pre-order it. As
It
soon as
is
possible.
listed. Now, this means absolutely fucking nothing because Duke Nukem Forever was supposed to come out in 1997. But it is listed as being on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Windows. So, at least tentatively, there are plans for it to make it on this console generation. But who knows?
I'll never know.
So I couldn't find a
I'll
story
be
of
in the
it.
dark forever.
But I did hear that there was some like update to PlayStation. I think the PlayStation Network or something like that, where they were taking a bigger stance on like cyberbullying and trying to prevent a lot of like just grieving and toxicity. And a lot of people like updated it to find out like they got a like 1 month ban for like reporting or something like that. And it ended up driving up the sales of the Xbox, of different Xbox stuff. So I don't know if
like
how widespread that is and how many people are actually like tempted to leave the platform because of
this
like
is
dumb
this is what
policing
I'm
stuff.
saying with like, you know, the intentions are good, but when they do stuff like that, it's always abused. And people, you know, obviously I'm paying for this service and you're gonna fucking ban me because some guy said that I did something that I maybe didn't do, or it wasn't a huge deal, and now you're gonna slap me with a ban. Yeah, I could see people. I don't think it's gonna be in massive droves. The story is the same every console generation. Whichever console has the exclusives that people want to play is gonna be the one that wins in sales. There's never. That's the only thing that matters. You just gotta make quality games. And I know Microsoft bought Bethesda, but really Bethesda games, not exactly quality.
Oh, yeah, this was the other one. This was the other thing. Is that they're actually, I think you have to agree to this, but you probably can't get any further if you don't agree to it. Party chats will be recorded.
Oh, well, that's alarming.
Yeah.
Recorded and submitted for appraisal.
Yeah, it's that's a little not okay.
It's kind of draconian, yeah. I'm still buying a PS5
Using
though.
the PlayStation Network, you implicitly agree that your voice could be recorded.
Could be.
Apparently, it's nothing new. What is new is that the update shows the following message, which seems to suggest your fellow players will now be able to report a voice chat to Sony, who can listen back and see if there was anything unsavory going on.
Well, we can never have a chat on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So Saturn Studs podcast
rough.
will not be available on the PSN.
Bum, 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 bum.
Oh,
So I pulled this story largely because of the news outlet it came from, the New York Post, which is about one step up from a tabloid in terms of journalistic integrity. And they have a tech news section apparently, and
Oh, good.
the headline here is Atari is launching a cryptocurrency along with its new console. Atari isn't just getting. Who's this by? This is by Nicholas Vega. Atari isn't just getting back into the console game after 2 decades on the sidelines. It's jumping headfirst into cryptocurrency too. The retro gaming giant is introducing a digital currency called Atari Token, which users will be able to use to buy games with on its new Atari VCS gaming system. So it's not really a cryptocurrency so much as it's a digital currency for the
Fun
company.
money?
Yeah.
For your platform.
The tokens,
which they're totally coming out with. They're totally coming out with the Atari VCS.
tokens will sell for 25 cents a pop beginning on October 19th on the Bitcoin.com exchange. Bloomberg reports. The Atari will sell 4 million of them, though they will initially only be used to buy games and for in-game purchases on its console. The hope is that the token will eventually be used throughout gaming. The VCS was first announced in 2017. I remember that. Will be released the same month as the PS5 and the Series X. But despite top-tier competition, CEO Frederick Chesnais said the Atari will be able to make a splash. We have a brand, we have a following, we think we're going to get some attention in any case. The console will be offered as part of a bundle that includes 100 classic games as well as 2 controllers for $390. So it's not even like it's cheap.
Is the console also this big and just the joystick that you plug in with the the
RCA cables? Yeah,
RCA cables.
Yeah, it's going to sound like a plug and play.
Is it just a fucking Atari plug? Is it an Atari plug and play Atari? Is that what we're doing?
Are you trying to make me spend
how much?
$390.
What was the price of it?
$390.
$390.
So the same price as the Series X.
More expensive in some cases.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Xbox Series X could get this killer exclusive, and it could be bad news for the PS5. And it's about the Elder Scrolls 6.
Oh, okay.
Hey-o.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that'd be pretty rough if ES6 went exclusive to Xbox.
Well,
I will say.
I think at the beginning, so Morrowind only ever came to Xbox on consoles. And I believe, at least in the beginning, Oblivion was an Xbox exclusive. They may have later released it on the PS3. I think Skyrim was the first truly multi-plat.
On release.
Yeah, upon release, Elder Scrolls game, which is why it was so big, I think, or at least part of the reason why it was so big.
Gotcha.
I don't hold me on. Actually, I'm going to look that up right now. I know for sure Morrowind was only
live fact check
on the Xbox, not Oblivion.
Live fact checking. Only get here on Saturn Stud.
Yeah.
We do it
Network
as we go.
Show.
Yeah.
We make it up as we go along.
Won't get this anywhere else, like on CNN. They fake news.
They are fake news.
Don't listen.
All right, so it did eventually make its way to the PS3. Oblivion's public debut occurred on 2K Games had aimed for 2005 publication to be a launch title for the 360. Official PlayStation. Where was it? So yes, it does seem like so for a year it was exclusive to the 360. A PS3 version of the game was ported by 4J Studios and released March 20th, 2007 versus the 360 release of March 20th, 2006. So it was a full calendar year exclusive to the Xbox. So I was right.
Snagged it.
I know my history.
Damn. All right. Then it shouldn't be too much different. That's from previous ones, I guess.
Yeah.
Other than Skyrim.
Yeah. There's always been that working relation. That's probably why ZeniMax was willing to sell to Microsoft, because they've had that working relation for a while.
Yeah, not surprised.
But
But
That's gaming news, and we need to talk about a movie.
Movie.
of a movie. Totally out there. Nobody's gonna understand dreams.
It's gonna blow your fucking mind.
It's very visually impressive, although some of the effects, I will say, have not aged so well.
It's very true. There's a couple that are.
It's mostly just the compositing of like the cars and stuff in the scenes looks very low rent compared to today.
Yeah.
But overall, I'd say it holds up.
I did like a lot of the, like a lot of the visuals, a lot of the, like, I think the first thing that was brought to my mind, one of the first things we saw was when he was in that, like, I guess what was it, Japanese style, like, kind of mansion.
Yeah.
And the water was, like, rushing in because he was dumped into the bathtub.
Yeah.
That was cool. Awesome.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff's cool.
Very neat. The hallway scene. I love hallway scenes. You know us. We are sluts for hallway scenes.
That
ever
was.
since
I mean, he fucking
Daredevil
crafted that. That was. I think there was about two things that he wanted to do in this movie. He wanted the last 10 minutes, all the story there. That's where all the artistic and the thinky stuff was in the last 10 minutes, and that hallway scene. And he made a 2.5 hour movie to scaffold that shit with exposition.
Yeah, it's really it's
like that.
at its core, it's a heist movie. Except instead of stealing something, they're putting something there.
It's like the Burger King where you'd put the burger in your pocket because of the savings.
Yeah.
He was the Sneak King.
And
Christopher Nolan's adaptation of the Sneak King.
it follows a lot of the same beats you would see in a heist movie. It's getting the team together and explaining the job and planning the job out. Although they did a really poor job planning this job out. They left a lot to chance. They didn't really account for many things.
I mean, literally, the guy almost screws it up by handing the guy a gun and being like able to off himself.
Yeah.
Like, if he was more itchy with that trigger finger, he would have been like, "Bop."
Well, when you learn about DiCaprio character number 38, Cobb, I guess that makes sense that he wouldn't really be thinking this out too well, considering what else fucking happens in this movie.
Yeah, he's got a lot on his mind.
He's also
Got a few things.
I don't know what that movie was where DiCaprio played like some rich industrialist dude.
Gatsby?
All I remember is
Great Gatsby?
No. It was earlier than that. All I remember is there's one quote at the end where he's in the bathroom trying to he has like a stutter and he's trying to say it to himself. He's like, the way of the future.
The Aviator.
Yeah. I just hear like his aviator accent just comes through. So at various points in the movie when he's like tearing up and he's like saying some important line, I'm just like, way of the future.
Yeah, he played Howard. That was the Howard Hughes movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was good in that. He's been chasing that Oscar for a long time.
He has. He really has. But my favorite performance in this was Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Because they gave him all the... They gave him all the cool shit.
I really like Tom Hardy. I think he was my favorite actor in this movie. Thought he did a really good job.
Yeah, very good. I really liked him. I liked Joseph Gordon-Levitt too. I think he was maybe a little.
This was on the time where it looked like
suavecito.
he was on the rise, and then his career just plateaued for whatever reason. Because he had just done he did this, and then he was in The Dark Knight Rises, and then he was in a whole lot of not much.
I think he was running a TV show on Apple TV for a while. I think it was called Pogo. Something like that, maybe.
Let's see.
No, it's Hit Record. It was called Hit Record on TV. I don't know when that happened. It was Hit Record on TV. Come on. Load it up. 2014, yeah. 2014 variety show. Ran for a couple seasons.
Yeah,
and it's now available on YouTube.
He had a good run, and then, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Because he he had a big run. He was in Inception, then he was in The Dark Knight Rises, then he was in Looper, he was in Lincoln, and then he did his directorial thing with Don John, and then it kind of dried up a little bit for a while. And
yeah, let me.
Oh, he was in The Last
IMDb
Jedi?
Say? He probably was a fucking extra.
Yeah, he was a voice in The Last Jedi. Slolin Low.
Slow and low.
Yeah.
Or it could have been maybe like an alien or something like that.
Yeah, I would assume so. Oh, he was in...
Oh, right. He's in the
in
Trial of Chicago 7.
He was in Knives Out. Oh,
So
he had a
he's
voice.
he's in stuff.
Yeah, he's not like... but it looked like he was going to be like the next big leading man sort of deal, but that never really materialized for him. But, I mean, he's had a good career. He started off... He's got all that Third Rock from the Sun money, and he's got that Inception money and that Batman money. He's doing just fine for himself.
I'll be in the movie.
But
Just
yeah.
hook me up to the wires, and we'll do a cool flying scene.
I think a lot of people have seen this movie. It's a decade old at this point, so I think and it's one of those cultural touchstones that most people have seen. Although Diane, she asked me if the movie was any good. I'm like, you've never seen it, and she said no. So that
I had never seen
had
it.
never seen it either.
okay. So apparently I am way off on my assessment.
I mean,
I'm not saying it's wrong about being a cultural touchstone, because it's one of those things that everyone like parodies the little bit they've seen of it. I mean, Blom. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, we've done that. Like, but although watching this, it was not as prevalent as I remember it being. I remember it like being the period at every sentence in this movie, but it was used like maybe 5 times.
Was that like an IMAX thing? Maybe was it like?
I think it was a parody thing. Like you saw the SNL parody of Inception, and then they did that to play it up, and that's what got stuck in your head. That's the idea that they planted.
Yeah, it's the Mandela effect.
That's the idea that they planted. I came up with this.
That's what I think about this movie. This movie was like an Inception, because it was Inception for like the final theme, because the complexity of this movie, it's an exponential curve, because it's like this, then the heist starts, and then as it goes to the fucking finish, it's like here. I'm like, this shit came out of nowhere.
It ramps up real quick. So the biggest, I think the ending is really what stuck a lot of people. There's a lot of discussion about whether or not it's a dream or reality, but there are a couple important details that I'll share now to see if you guys noticed anything. Well, the one important detail is that he says the top was his wife's totem. It wasn't his. I believe, this is a popular fan theory that I back. I believe that it's actually his wedding ring. When he's awake in the real world, he's not wearing his wedding ring. But in every dream sequence, he is. And at the end of the movie, he's not wearing his wedding ring. So there's that. But there's also the Michael Caine factor. So Michael Caine did an interview where he said when he got the script from Christopher Nolan, he liked it, but he was hesitant to take the part because he didn't quite know what was a dream and what was reality. And Christopher Nolan said to him, well, if you're in the scene, it's real. So when he gets off the plane, Michael Caine's there to greet him.
Oh, yeah.
So further evidence that it was actually, it really happened.
I took a
Very interesting.
different path on this entirely, because I came into this with the context that this was basically like a foundational fucking text for r/movie details. Every fucking theory crafter, just here's a film theory, figuring out all the movie details. This is like the perfect fodder for that, because whenever I see Inception, it's just people trying to like graph out the movie and figure it all out, and I'm like, but what's it all for then? Like, that's fine. You can all do that. But, like, is it going to say something? Is it going to have a thematic element? And at the end, it kind of did. Because he does the top. He spins the toppy top. But the more important thing is he walks away. He walks away from it to go just be with his kids. when the whole his whole arc was struggling with the idea that was incepted, your world is not real and you should do something, you got to do something about that. So he overcame that virus, that thing that caused him so much pain, just said doesn't matter.
So but he incepted his wife with that idea to get her to come back out of limbo with him. So
you don't think maybe she also incepted him a little bit? I think
it was just more the guilt that he was living with, that he felt responsible for his wife's death. He didn't technically kill her, but in a lot of ways he did. And I think wrestling with that guilt is what caused him a lot of his issues. Yeah. He couldn't let her go.
The way I took a lot of the top spinning scenes was whenever he saw Mal, his wife, he was overcome with shock and grief and guilt. And then when he would get out of the dream, he would need to spin it to be remember, hey, she's dead. This is not the dream anymore. You're back in reality where she's not here anymore. Accept that.
Also, I wanna just throw this out here, not related to anything we're talking about. Ellen Page's character is a nosy fucking bitch in this movie. My God, man, respect the man's privacy.
She is. Wow. Yeah, I was really. I expected him to react a lot more vitriol with a lot more vitriol. That's how you say those fucking string of words.
But she sees him sleeping, and then she goes into his dream, and then further into his dream when he asks her not to, God damn it, bitch! What the fuck is your damage?
Bellen Page tries to go into the West Wing, and Beast DiCaprio says, "You must never go there. It's forbidden."
That's pretty good. We were making jokes about how she would evolve into Ellen Book one day.
So I mean, she's there to make the plot happen. That's one of the gripes I got with this, was that a lot of this movie is just because there's a lot to unpack for a general audience, which he is shooting for. He's shooting for the general audience. He's there's this shit happening, and I gotta explain all of this to these popcorn munchers.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good lens to explore it through, but it made sense. Her role on the team was necessary. They needed someone else to design the dreams, because if Leo did it, then there was going to be issues. So I guess
I'm just talking more generally. It kind of pervades the film, and it is to me. It came off to me as heist movie plus dream elements, like you said. Whereas I don't know if the marketing was like this or not. It felt like the marketing to me was dreams. The Inception technology. Look at this, and we're gonna do a heist with it.
A lot of the marketing, as I recall, was built around the effects, more in the set design. When Ellen Page is the first time they go into a dream, and she's building things, and it's all cattywampus and upside down and running like that. There was a lot of that focus on the marketing. Look at this cool visual style that at the time audiences really hadn't seen before. And that I remember mostly being, I haven't watched the trailer. I probably should have done that before we started, but that's what stuck out to me the most in the marketing. I remember watching it. I didn't see it in theaters because I just didn't. But I remember my Uncle Chris buys every movie, and he brought it up to Grandma's once, and we all watched it. And I remember liking it a lot. I thought it was really cool, all the visual elements, but being a little bit fuzzy on the story. And I guess I just wasn't paying close enough attention, because I watched it intently this time because I wanted to see if the wedding ring theory stacked up. It does. And watching it carefully, maybe it's just I've watched a lot of movies since then, and I'm more refined in my movie watching abilities, both good and bad. But this, it seemed pretty straightforward to me for the most part watching it this time. It's okay, we've got the situation. He wants to go back home to his kids. Ken Watanabe can make that happen. So he's doing this job for him, and then
Let them fight.
he's doing this job for him. He gets his crew together. They go in. They immediately encounter speed bumps. I think throwing the limbo thing in there was I think, unnecessary dramatic element addition. Like, it raised the stakes, yes, but it just felt so, like, thrown in there that it kind of I don't want to say it took away from the movie, but I felt it would have worked without that element. And
I feel like,
Well, I guess it put meaning into like them being chased and attacked by the subconscious.
yeah, I think
By the projections. Because if there was no, like, if they got shot in the head, they would just wake up. Like, that doesn't have any gravity. But if they got shot and killed, they're
I
put
think
in
you
limbo.
could have done
That's
it
much
in
more...
a way where if they were woken up prematurely, the job would be ruined. Like, because you could have put in an element of, like, there needs to be synchronicity in the dreams to a certain extent, which they kind of did with the kick.
If one wakes up, we all wake up.
So, like, if someone on a higher level dream dies in their dream and wakes up, then everyone on a lower level, like, gets kicked out. Or then you could have said on a lower level that something happens to them there, and, like, their minds, like, experience torment. But I think, like, the whole concept of limbo, like, I don't have a problem with it necessarily. It just seemed like it was thrown in there to be like, okay, we need to add some stakes to the action sequences here, so let's throw in this element here. It felt like a late addition in a rewrite. They're like, oh, well, what if we did this? And it's like, oh, yeah, that's fine. Throw that in there.
I also think it's sort of I agree. It's like a technical bridge where you can't just be like, if you die in the dream, you die in real life. He could do that, but he's like, I need to, like, explain what this limbo thing is so that at the climax of the film, when Leo's in, like, this fucking, like, he's almost on the brink of insanity in, like, the deepest depths of the mind, they'll understand what the stakes are there.
Yeah. I mean, it worked out. Like, I don't, like I said, I don't have a problem necessarily with its inclusion. I just felt it was a little artificial. But I guess to the extent of, like, how the emotional resolution happens, how he, like, moves on. It's like, yeah, I did grow old with her. We did have a nice time together. Like, limbo needed to exist for that to happen, I guess. So,
Yeah.
touche, Chris Nolan.
I did just watch the trailer. So, like, a lot of it was those big ticket ones, the big ticket scenes where it's like the city folding in half, the elevator going up on the beach,
Fruit explosion.
where if you didn't see it, if you never saw the movie, you'd be like, what the fuck? How is he falling down a hallway like that? So definitely intrigues you into the set design sort of element. But the trailer had all the wah.
Oh, okay.
The wah. The trailer, it was like nonstop. I have a job for you. Wah.
All right, so that's where my memory just conflated that.
Yeah.
I think that's where it probably comes from.
Well, you mentioned
remember that
set
too.
design, Jake, and that's a point I want to bring up because I noticed this watching the movie. I don't know if y'all did. Like, now scenes look different from other scenes. When you go to a different set, you have a different set. It's pretty stupid point,
normally.
but I'll make it. But, like, in this movie, every set was very different from each other's set.
Very
like,
unique, and I think they really took advantage of the premise they constructed to do that. Like, in the beginning, it's just New York City on a rainy day. And I like how they brought in elements of, like, your body and how it affects the dream world. Like, the chemist had to pee, and that's why it was raining in the city.
They had very smart ideas. Very, very
and
smart
then
ideas.
in the second level of the dream, they're in like a upscale hotel, completely different kind of setting. And then in the third level, they're just on fucking Shadow Moses Island. They're like, they're on a complete 180 in terms of aesthetic and feel.
Even more than that, even, like, subtler than that, like, all of the corporate dude's dreams, all of his sort of before it even gets crazy. Like you have the bar scene, right? And that's got a color and palette, and that's different from the looking at across the foyer where Ellen Page and Joseph Gordon-Levitt are sitting, and they're like surveying the scene. And then that's a different color than you had, like the hotel. That's a different color palette than the plane that they're on. Like every scene is like, we're gonna make this scene very distinct. Like it's just start from scratch almost each time.
Yeah.
And then they could.
I think this movie was made in a similar method, but done the right way. As I don't know if y'all remember the Scarlett Johansson movie Lucy, which was definitely just some screenwriters like, wouldn't this be a cool scene to put in a movie? Wouldn't this be a cool scene to put in the movie? And then like trying to come up with some plot to stitch that together. I think Inception was born of a similar concept, but had a much better connective tissue.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really seems like it.
I do know. I know what's on Christopher Nolan's like YouTube. He has a playlist. It's like a 4K playlist, and it's all just waves. Just wave, like ocean wave footage. 1 hour, 4K. Because you look at this movie, you look at Tenet, you look at Interstellar. The man likes his tidal forces.
Yeah.
They add drama there. It's a relatable, powerful
Tide goes
message.
in, tide goes out. Can't explain
It's
that.
a very relaxing noise too. Puts you at a sense of ease. But you can also make suspense, like waking up on a beach.
Oh, yeah. Did a lot of waking up on beaches.
Yeah. It's because it's all that always brought me back to like washing up on the shore of the subconscious. That line stuck with me because it did a lot of that.
It did. And the movie itself, like the way the plot progresses, it's kind of shot out of order. Like you start at the end, which is not necessarily uncommon, but you're like, well, how did we get here? Because they did it kind of cleverly, because they start at the end, but then like they kick it up to where you're still in Ken Watanabe's dream for the first like 20 minutes of the movie. So you're like, okay, so that was just another level of the dream. But then you're like, wait, no, okay, that's at the end. That they're like 4 levels deep, man. They're way down there. Actually, I think that would have been 5 levels deep, right?
I have no idea.
So the first level was New York,
and then the hotel, then Shadow Moses,
and then the snow,
then
snow
Cobb's,
the James Bond 007 level.
Then it's Cobb's apartment, and then it's Ken or who else is whoever else. It's the dream of Ken Watanabe as an old man. So that's 5 levels down. They went.
Is that really he had to go another level off camera?
I think that's what happened, because he had to find Saito down there before he could.
Yeah, he had to find Saito in limbo.
But I would think that it would have had to have been another level deep, because it was a completely different construction, and it was in. I think it was in Saito's mind.
Wait, which are we talking about?
Cops at the very end.
Yes. So, yeah, because he had to find him and find his thing.
So they went
'cause
5.
When he went to go find Fisher, then he had to go find Saito after that.
Ellen Page found Fisher, and then she took him out, and then he had to go find Saito, and I believe he had to go 1 level deeper.
Yeah. So
wow, holy shit.
And this draws me back to how we got here.
That's why he was probably so old. That's why he was probably so old.
Yeah, and that's they actually incepted Saito a little bit, or they incepted each other a little bit. Not necessarily like in the same method, but like the idea of like being an old man alone waiting to die. Like that was something they kicked around of each other a couple times. And that's probably how he knew to find Saito. Maybe that was intentional.
I kind of want to get back to how I gave y'all this idea how we got to this movie selection for tonight. for today. I'd recommend you all find this. It's a pretty popular video. It's just called Inception in Real Time, and it is the entire Inception operation, or at least all the dream layers, stacked up against each other.
Yeah, that sounds
time
cool.
dilated to their equivalents.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
And and it shows that like the entirety of the operation took about 4.5 minutes if you go by screen time. It's pretty nifty.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, because I was wondering how much, because that was the other thing. Is that
I thought it was
timing
10 hours.
was all different.
Real time.
Well, they had 10 hours.
But they wake up at
The
the
flight-
end of the flight. Like, I don't know how long it took them to set it up. But they wake up at the end of the flight because they're landing in Los Angeles in like 30 minutes and they're handing out immigration papers. And I don't know how recently either of you have flown internationally, but that's not done until like the end of the flight.
Yeah.
I think they cut.
Well, they said
they cut a
they'll
lot
be
of time
landing
in there.
Which is why I'm so impressed that Saito's influence got that situation resolved in such a small amount of time.
Yeah. All I gotta do is one
call, sure, I'll buy that. But like, they were able to, like, they must have like pushed that to the front of the priority stack to get all those charges dropped in 30 minutes.
He just bought America. It seemed neater.
I bought the airline.
It was simpler. It's cleaner.
Um,
My camera's just like,
Yeah, but really good movie. If you haven't seen it, if you are also on the prove Kurt wrong train, definitely check it out. It's a great movie. It's not like a popcorn flick, kick back, easy to watch. Like it's a movie that you should pay attention to and watch closely.
yeah.
So get in whatever headspace you
I'd
need
also
to
turn
do
the
with that.
Unless you want to listen to it like on full blast, like I maybe
The
put
dialogue
subtitles
was
on.
mastered pretty low. I had to turn my volume up quite a bit.
My roommates. I didn't know if anybody was sleeping in my place, so I like kind of turned it a little bit down. I didn't want it to. It was like late at night, so I wasn't like trying to blast the wall.
I mean, the sound design was excellent.
'cause-
Like, I got a new soundbar that has its own independent subwoofer, and like, so the TCL Alto 7 Plus gets a recommendation from me. It's actually pretty cheap. It's only $125. And like, very good bass, good separation on all the levels. I could feel the rumble. It was
Nice.
pretty good. Money well spent. Much better than the old soundbar.
for those who,
Yeah.
for those who enjoy La Cinéma.
If you like Christopher Nolan movies, this is peak Nolan, I would say. I think this. I mean, you can make an argument for The Dark Knight, but that's a different, like, that's good for different reasons. But this is like peak Christopher Nolan style of filmmaking.
He really becomes he goes from Chris Nolan to Chris Hollywood here, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah, and
Stone Cold said so.
on that, we'll. I can't top that, so we'll just wrap it up there. And finally, I know we pushed it off a couple weeks, but we want to get some For the King in there. Finally, this week, tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be celebrating 5 years of Saturn Studs. With Mass Effect 3, we'll be wrapping up that trilogy. We're just going to play it how it is on my machine. I have no idea what mods I have installed. We're gonna roll the dice. We could get a vanilla ending. We could get the extended cut. We could get the happy ending mod. I have no idea, but we're gonna go for it. It's actually gonna be exciting because I bought the DLC pack, and I have never played any of the story DLC for Mass Effect 3 before. So new experiences.
Oh, very cool.
Dope.
I've played From Ashes, which was day one DLC, which was fucking bullshit, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, that should be a good time. So make sure you swing by Twitch TV /SaturnStuds at 8 p.m. tonight. next week the show might come out a little bit later. Typically release Saturdays at 3, but I have to take my bunny on some speed dating. So we'll we'll see how that goes. I don't know how long that'll take and when I'll be back, but we'll get the show up as soon as we can. So that might be a little bit later than you're typically used to, but you can find the show on iTunes, Spotify, pretty much everywhere. Please, if you enjoy the show, leave it a good review on whatever app you're listening to. It really helps our visibility, and we appreciate it greatly. And if you drop us a line, send us an email showing your review or being like, hey, I wrote a review on X platform, we'll shout you out. We'll plug your Twitter, we'll plug your Facebook, we'll plug whatever you want us to plug. We'll do that for you. All you have to do is just give us a review, preferably a positive one.
Plug your mom.
And
plug your fucking mother.
Yeah, that's it for episode 233. We'll be back next week with 234, taking a look at something. And don't forget, we have an episode on Halloween this year, so we'll be in costume. We'll maybe do silly voices, and we'll be reviewing Army of Darkness. So that's coming up in 2 weeks. Next week, I don't think we've decided on a topic yet, but you're not going to want to miss it. The show is not one that you want to miss. So until next time, be well, stay safe, and party like it's 1995.
Peace.